You think power comes from what you own, from the money in your account, from the title they print on your business card? You are wrong. The powerful do not chase what you are chasing. They do not wake up in the same prison you wake up in every day, the prison of approval, of routine, of fear. They live by habits that feel invisible to the average eye, habits that make them unstoppable, while the rest of the world wonders why life never bends for them. And if you do not see them, truly see them, you will spend your life running in circles, watching others rise while you stay exactly where you are. Do you know why your mornings feel heavy? Why do you work hard but remain unseen? It is because you are surviving, not designing. You wake up and step into a script someone else wrote for you. The world tells you what success is, what to chase, who to please, and you obey. But the people you admire, they tore up that script. They wrote their own. And that is why they feel untouchable. You see their results, but you do not see their habits. You see the applause, but not the quiet rituals that built them. You think they are different by birth? They are not. They are different by discipline. Let me tell you why this matters. Because if you keep living by habits that belong to the crowd, you will end up where the crowd ends up, exhausted, resentful, and wondering why nobody ever gave you a chance. But if you dare to live by the habits of the powerful, everything changes. They guard their mornings like gold. Most people open their eyes and immediately give away their mind to notifications, to demands, to noise. But powerful, they treat their mornings like a fortress. They do not let the world in until they have strengthened themselves. They understand something you refuse to admit. The first hour determines the rest of the day. You think you can't afford quiet time? They know they cannot afford distraction. That is why they win before you even start. Now pause for a moment and look at your mornings. Do you own them, or do they own you? The first thing you touch, is it your purpose, or is it your phone? You may think it does not matter, but it does. That first action, that first thought is not small. It is the seed. And from that seed, the rest of your day grows. If you plant chaos, you will reap chaos. If you plant focus, you will reap focus. Here is the hard truth you need to face. The world does not care if you are prepared or not. It will demand from you either way. If you wake up unarmed, the day will devour you before breakfast. If you wake up prepared, you can bend the day to your will. When you wake up tomorrow, ask yourself, am I opening my eyes to my life, or am I opening my eyes to theirs? I once told a young man in Pittsburgh who had nothing but dreams, do not begin your day in service of others before you have built something within yourself. And I stand by that wisdom now more than ever. You cannot pour from an empty cup. You cannot lead when you wake up already following the world's noise. Think of it this way. If the first hour of your day is stolen by everyone else's priorities, where is the space for your own? The powerful know this. Before they engage with the world, they conquer themselves. They sit with their thoughts. They move their body. They read. They write. They prepare. They build inner strength before they give the world their outer service. What would happen if you made your mornings sacred? If you treated them like an unbreakable appointment with yourself? Most people wake up and step straight into the battlefield with no armor. They are at the mercy of emails, messages, news, and opinions. And then they wonder why life feels heavy, why they are constantly reacting instead of creating. But the powerful do not play that game. They make their first hour non-negotiable. And here is the shift I want you to feel. You are not too busy for this. You are too busy not to do this. Quiet time is not a luxury. It is survival. Stop thinking you can build a life of meaning while living mornings of chaos. Stop convincing yourself that scrolling, reacting, consuming is harmless. It is killing your focus before you even begin. Instead, rise with intention. Before you open yourself to the demands of the world, open yourself to purpose. Journal your thoughts. Read something that feeds your mind. Move your body. Sit in silence. Choose who you will be today before the world chooses for you. If the first hour of tomorrow was yours, truly yours, what could you build with it? The people you call powerful did not start there. They built their lives on small, sacred rituals. 1 hour of ownership each day. That is all. And if you are willing to guard that first hour like your life depends on it, everything else begins to change. They choose pain over comfort daily. If you want a simple life, do what feels good. If you want a powerful life, do what is necessary. Every great builder I knew, men who forged empires, understood this. Pain is not the enemy. It is the path. The weak look for shortcuts. The strong make suffering their ally. You avoid discomfort. They embrace it like an old friend. Stop and really think about that. What is the first thing you do when life gets uncomfortable? You back away. You retreat to what is safe. You convince yourself you are protecting your peace, but in reality, you are protecting your limitations. That is why nothing changes. The men and women who built lasting power, not just wealth, not just status, did something different. They learned to make pain a teacher instead of a warning sign. They ran toward the very thing you run from. Not because they enjoyed suffering, but because they understood what it gave them. Resilience, vision, clarity, and above all, freedom from the cage of fear. When was the last time you chose pain on purpose? When was the last time you walked straight into discomfort, knowing it would grow you? I have seen men quit because the journey was too long, too painful. They wanted comfort more than greatness. And I have seen others, the rare ones, who chose the opposite. They stayed when it hurt. They worked when no one was watching. They were willing to look foolish, willing to be underestimated, willing to carry the weight no one else wanted. Those are the men who became unshakable. Do not lie to yourself. The life you want will demand a price. If you avoid pain, you avoid transformation. The powerful understand that suffering is the tax for a meaningful life. The weak see it as punishment. That is why they remain weak. What if your discomfort is not a wall, but a door? And the only way to open it is to keep walking through it. Look at your daily choices. Every time you choose what is easy, you make your future harder. Every time you choose what is hard, you make your future easier. That is the paradox of growth. Don't tell yourself you want change and then build a life designed to keep you comfortable.
I knew a man who once told me, "I cannot take the pressure. It is too much." I told him, "It is supposed to feel heavy. If it did not, you would not grow strong enough to carry what you were asking for." He left, looking for an easier path. I built my empire while he built excuses. Here is the bitter truth. Until you train yourself to do what you fear, you will live in a cage built by your own hands. Pain is not your enemy. Fear of pain is. Ask yourself, will you keep hiding in comfort, or will you finally earn your freedom? Break the pattern, or stay exactly where you are. That choice will define everything. They think in decades, not days. You want results tomorrow. They are building for 10 years from now. That is why you quit when things get hard. That is why you fall apart when life does not give you instant reward. Power is born in patience, discipline over time. I built steel mills brick by brick, years before the first profit appeared. And yet every man who walked away early called me lucky when they saw the empire. Luck? No. It was the long game they did not have the courage to play. And that is where most people fail. Not in talent, not in ambition, but in time. You live like life is a sprint, so you burn out before the race has even begun. You want the applause now. You want the recognition now. You want the reward now. And when it does not come, you call it unfair, or worse, you call yourself a failure. But powerful, they think in decades. They plant trees knowing they may sit in the shade long after the world has forgotten who planted them. They build patiently, deliberately, with an unshakable understanding. Real empires take time. Ask yourself, what are you building today that will still matter in 10 years? When I began in the steel industry, I endured years of sleepless nights and relentless work without profit, without praise. I remember men coming to me mocking my ambition. They told me I was foolish, that I was wasting my life. And yet, when the first sparks of success caught flame, those same men called me lucky. They saw the result, not the road. Here is a truth you must etch into your mind. The one who thinks in decades will always outrun the one who thinks in days. Most people cannot wait a week for results, let alone a year. And yet, every meaningful achievement in history was a long game. What would change in your life if you stopped obsessing over today's harvest and started planting for the next 10 years? You call it patience. I call it vision. The powerful do not measure their lives by immediate outcomes. They measure by direction, by progress, by the seeds they are planting. They know that if they work with discipline, the reward will come. Not when they want it, but when it is ready. And here is what you need to understand. Your obsession with speed is the very thing slowing you down. Every time you chase quick wins, you abandon the long road where real transformation happens. You trade the marathon for a sprint and wonder why you keep collapsing. If you cannot think beyond tomorrow, you will always be ruled by those who can. Do you want a life that feels good for a moment, or one that will stand long after you are gone? Patience is not a weakness. It is a strategy. It is the quiet, disciplined defiance of a person who refuses to let time bully them. So slow down. Think bigger. Build for the future you may not yet see, because that is what the powerful do. They refuse the noise of the crowd. The crowd will tell you what to believe, what to want, what is enough. And if you listen, you will spend your life chasing approval from people who are just as lost as you. The powerful live by a different compass. They listen to few, they trust fewer, and they follow a vision so personal that others cannot understand it, at least not at first. If you cannot bear the weight of being misunderstood, you are not ready for power, because the road to true influence is paved with solitude. Look closely at the world around you. Everywhere, voices shout at you, opinions, expectations, judgments, telling you who to be, what to desire, how to live. They are loud, relentless, and convincing. And if you let their noise drown out your own truth, you will lose yourself in a sea of empty promises and borrowed dreams. Most people do not realize how much they are controlled by this chorus. They chase validation, hoping the crowd will finally accept them. But the crowd is not a guide. It is a cage. And that cage will shrink around you until all you can hear is its echo. Ask yourself, whose approval am I chasing right now? And what am I sacrificing to get it? The powerful are not immune to the noise. They simply refuse to surrender to it. They filter. They choose carefully what to listen to and whom to trust. Their inner compass points inward, not outward. Their vision is so personal, so deeply rooted in their own experience and purpose that others cannot grasp it at first. It is not loneliness, it is solitude, a profound state of focus where the world's distractions fall away and clarity rises. This is why the path to influence is often a lonely road. It demands the courage to stand apart, to hold a vision when others doubt you, even ridicule you. If you cannot bear that weight, the misunderstanding, the isolation, you are not ready for true power. Because true power requires being comfortable with yourself when no one else understands you. When was the last time you stood firm in your beliefs, even when everyone else questioned you? Consider this. Every great leader, every revolutionary thinker, every person who changed the course of history was first misunderstood. They were called dreamers, fools, or worse, yet they did not stop. They did not shrink to fit the crowd's expectations. They carved their own path through solitude and quiet conviction. You must ask yourself, are you willing to walk that path? To listen less to the crowd and more to the voice inside? To trust your vision even when it makes you feel isolated? What if the discomfort of being misunderstood is actually the sign that you are on the right path? Because the truth is, the crowd cannot lead you to greatness. It can only lead you to where it has already been, safe, predictable, forgotten. The powerful are not shaped by applause or agreement. They are forged in the quiet moments of self-trust and clarity. They know that influence begins within, and the noise outside is just that, noise. So start today by tuning out. Turn down the volume of others' expectations. Turn up the volume of your own purpose. Create a sanctuary in your mind where your vision can breathe and grow without interruption. Ask yourself, who will protect your inner world? This is the habit the powerful cultivate: selective listening, deep trust in self, and the patience to let their vision mature in solitude before unveiling it to the world. Because when they finally speak, the world listens. They master their attention like currency. Power is not given to those who chase everything. It belongs to those who master what they focus on. The world pulls you in every direction: distractions, crises, gossip, endless noise. But the powerful guard their attention like the most valuable currency. Because attention wasted is opportunity lost. You think multitasking is a skill. They know it is a trap. Pause for a moment and ask yourself, how often do you feel pulled apart by distractions? How many times do you switch from task to task, from app to app, hoping to catch up, but only falling behind? The truth is harsh. Every second you give away to distraction is a second you steal from your future.
What if your attention was the key you have been ignoring? The single resource more precious than money, connections, or even talent? Those who rise above the noise do not try to do everything. They do less, but with fierce focus. They set boundaries not just around their time, but around their minds. They protect their focus like a fortress because they understand something you must hear clearly. Scattered attention leads to scattered results. I remember a time when I worked 14-hour days, yet I felt I was spinning my wheels. Then I learned to guard my focus, to say no to the trivial, the urgent but not important, the shiny distractions that screamed for my time. It was not easy. Saying no to the crowd's noise often feels like isolation. But that discipline was the difference between building an empire and being lost in the chaos of the everyday. Ask yourself, what have you said yes to that is stealing your power right now? Here is the bitter truth many do not face. You cannot win at a game you do not understand. And the game of modern life is attention. It demands mastery. If you allow your mind to be scattered, you are handing your power away, piece by piece, to whoever yells the loudest. But the powerful, they fight back with quiet resolve. They build rituals that reclaim their attention. They work in blocks. They remove distractions. They make themselves unavailable so they can become unstoppable. Imagine what you could create if you controlled your attention instead of it controlling you. You will hear more about this soon, because mastering attention is not just a habit, it is the foundation on which all other habits stand. Without it, nothing sticks. Without it, greatness slips through your fingers like sand. And here is the secret that most do not understand. Mastering your attention is not about willpower. It is about design. It is about creating your environment, your schedule, your mind, in a way that makes focus the easiest path, not the hardest. But how do you design that life? How do you defend your attention when the world is engineered to steal it? That is the question most never answer, and yet those who do become legends. Next, we will uncover the secret methods the most powerful people use to guard their attention in a world made to distract them. They build systems that serve them, not the other way around. Most people live trapped by their routines. They follow schedules that were never designed for them, never crafted for their goals or rhythms. They are slaves to habit, yet their habits do not serve their purpose. The powerful, they understand one brutal truth: systems are the silent engines of success. They build routines, rituals, and environments that serve their ambitions, not the other way around. Control your systems, or they will control you. Stop and reflect. How many of your days feel like endless repetition, doing things because that is what you have always done? How often do you find yourself exhausted, busy, but without progress? This is the trap of a life uncrafted. What if your daily life was designed intentionally, like a masterpiece, to pull you forward toward your highest goals? The powerful build systems that automate their success. They do not rely on fleeting motivation or willpower. Instead, they create structures that make the right actions automatic, inevitable even. They understand that discipline without design is futile. I once watched a man struggle to build a business by sheer force of will. He worked harder than anyone I knew, yet he remained stuck. Then he redesigned his habits, his workspace, his day, not based on what felt good, but based on what would produce results. Suddenly, his efforts multiplied. Success followed his system, not his mood. Are you designing your days to build your dreams, or just drifting through them hoping for luck? This is the core difference. Without systems, you burn out. With systems, you conserve energy and build momentum. The powerful know this instinctively. They guard their routines as fiercely as their fortunes. And here is the truth that most ignore. Building systems is not complicated. It is about clarity, consistency, and ruthless pruning of what does not serve. Saying no to distractions is part of it, but so is saying yes to the habits and environments that produce greatness. What small system could you build today that would transform your tomorrow? But there is a deeper question lurking here. Are you ready to be honest with yourself about what is working and what is not? Are you ready to tear down what is comfortable but unproductive? Because design requires courage. It demands that you look at your life like a builder looks at a blueprint, with clear eyes and a willingness to change. Soon, we will explore how the powerful design their lives to make success inevitable, how they turn intention into action without exhausting themselves in the process. Because mastery is not just about hard work, it is about smart work, and that starts with building the right systems. They use failure as their greatest teacher. Most people fear failure. They see it as the end, a mark of weakness or defeat. But the powerful, they see failure as a compass, a harsh but honest guide pointing them closer to their true path. They understand that every fall is a lesson dressed in pain. To avoid failure is to avoid growth. They do not just accept failure, they use it, harness it, and transform it into their greatest teacher. Take a moment and reflect. How do you react when things go wrong? Do you shrink away, blame others, or do you face it head-on? The way you respond to failure reveals more about your future than any success ever could. What if your failures are not roadblocks, but signposts? What if your mistakes are the map you need? I have seen men build steel empires rise and crumble, only to rebuild stronger. I have seen others give up at the first sign of resistance. The difference? The willingness to learn, adapt, and keep moving forward. Failure exposes weaknesses we hide in comfort. It forces us to face reality without illusions. The powerful do not run from this truth. They seek it out. They ask themselves, what did I miss? Where did I fall short? And then they adjust, rebuild, and advance with sharper clarity. Ask yourself, when was the last time failure made you stronger rather than defeated you? Remember this, failure is not personal, it is procedural. It is part of the process of becoming. The powerful do not take failure as rejection, but as redirection. They reframe every setback as a necessary step forward. But this mindset is not easy. It requires humility and courage. It requires shedding ego and embracing discomfort. You must become a student of your own journey, willing to study your failures without fear or shame. If failure is inevitable, will you choose to let it break you or make you? Soon, we will uncover how the most powerful transform failure into fuel, turning each loss into leverage. Because the path to power is not a straight line. It is a series of pivots, recalibrations, and relentless resolve. And here lies an unspoken truth. Those who master failure do not simply survive, they transcend. Next, we will uncover the mindset that turns struggle into strength and pain into progress.
They protect their inner circle relentlessly. Power does not come from numbers, it comes from quality. The powerful understand that their circle shapes their mindset, their habits, and their future. They guard their inner circle like a fortress, allowing only those who elevate, challenge, and inspire to stay close. Toxicity, distraction, and negativity have no place in their lives. They know that who they surround themselves with determines how far they will go.
What if the difference between where you are and where you want to be is the company you keep? The powerful do not settle for comfort in their relationships. They seek honesty, accountability, and raw truth, even when it stings. They surround themselves with those who do not let them fall into excuses or complacency. I once advised a young man struggling to find direction. I told him, if your circle whispers doubts, you will never hear your own voice. Choose wisely who you let in. He made hard choices. He distanced himself from those who dragged him backward and found strength in a smaller, more committed circle. Are you willing to let go of people who no longer serve your growth? This is not about arrogance or isolation. It is about protection and alignment. The powerful understand that their environment is a reflection of their mind and habits. They build circles that inspire, challenge, and hold them accountable because they know that true growth never happens in isolation. And here is a truth many avoid. Sometimes protecting your circle means saying no to family, friends, or longtime acquaintances. It means embracing solitude over toxicity. It means valuing your future more than your past. If you want to rise, who do you need to distance yourself from? In the next chapter, we will dive into how the powerful cultivate relentless self-awareness, using truth as their compass and emotional mastery as their shield. They cultivate relentless self-awareness and emotional mastery. True power begins within. The powerful are not those who ignore their emotions or pretend to be invincible. They are those who understand themselves deeply, their fears, their desires, their triggers, and they master these forces instead of being mastered by them. Emotional mastery is not denial, it is awareness and control. Without it, no external power lasts. Take a moment and ask yourself, how often do you pause to truly understand what is driving your decisions? Are you reacting to old wounds, fears, or insecurities? Or are you leading with clarity and intention? What if the key to every challenge you face lies in mastering your own mind and heart first? The powerful do not blame circumstances or others for their feelings. They own them. They study their responses. They build emotional resilience like a muscle, strong enough to bend without breaking, flexible enough to adapt without losing direction. I recall countless moments when frustration or doubt threatened to derail me. But the difference was always in how I faced those feelings, with honesty, patience, and a refusal to be ruled by them. Ask yourself, are you a slave to your emotions or their master? This kind of self-awareness is not a luxury, it is survival. It allows you to choose your reactions rather than be swept away by them. It gives you the space to respond with wisdom instead of impulse. The powerful know that emotional storms will come. What separates them is their preparedness to weather those storms with calm and purpose. They create practices, meditation, reflection, journaling to keep their inner world clear and grounded. Imagine how different your life would be if you could calm the chaos inside and lead yourself with unwavering clarity. But here is an open truth. Emotional mastery is a lifelong journey, not a destination. It requires humility, patience, and daily commitment. There will be setbacks, but each step forward strengthens your power. Soon, we will reveal how this internal mastery feeds into the final habit, the unshakable commitment to legacy and purpose beyond oneself. Next, discover the secret of how the powerful live and lead with a vision that outlasts their own lifetime. They live for legacy, not just the moment. The powerful do not chase fleeting glory. They build for the ages. Their ambition stretches beyond their own lifetime, into the future they will never see. This is the difference between living for the moment and living for meaning. True power is the legacy you leave behind,
The lives you change, the systems you build, the standards you set long after you are gone. Look closely at your life right now. Are you investing in the temporary or the timeless? Are your daily actions footprints or echoes? Most people settle for the applause of today, the quick win, the immediate praise. But the powerful think far beyond, decades, generations. What will your life whisper to the future? I once told a young apprentice, if you live only for yourself, your power dies with you. But if you build something that serves others long after you, you become immortal. This is the burden and the blessing of true influence. Legacy is not about fame or fortune. It is about responsibility. It is about building a foundation so strong that even storms cannot shake it. It is about planting trees whose shade you will never sit under. How will you be remembered when no one is watching? This vision transforms pain, struggle, and sacrifice into purpose. It fuels patience when the journey is long. It ignites courage when the path is lonely. And it drives discipline when distractions scream for your attention. The powerful understand that their greatest achievement is not the wealth they accumulate or the titles they earn. It is the impact they have on the world. Their life becomes a message, a mission, a movement. Are you building a life that matters beyond your own story? You have traveled this path with me now, from guarding your mornings to mastering your emotions, from choosing pain to thinking in decades, and finally to embracing your legacy. The truth is simple yet profound. Power is not a moment, it is a life, lived fully and intentionally. Now ask yourself, what is the story you want to tell through your life? This is your moment of choice. Will you live distracted, reactive, and small? Or will you rise, steady, intentional, and monumental? Power begins where comfort ends. It demands courage, it requires sacrifice, but it promises one thing above all else, meaning that lasts beyond the fleeting present. So, start now. Build your legacy in every moment you are given, because one day your life will be all anyone remembers. This moment is yours. You have listened closely. You have walked with me through truths that many avoid. You have faced the hard realities of power, that it is not given, it is earned, that it demands sacrifice, patience, and relentless clarity, that it asks you to be different, to stand alone, and to keep moving when the world wants you to stop. Right now, I am speaking to you, the one who feels the weight of all this, the one who wonders if it is too much, the one who feels the loneliness, the pain, the struggle. I see you, and I want you to know this. You are not alone in this fight. Every person who has ever changed the world has stood where you stand now, on the edge of comfort, staring into the unknown. They had doubts, they felt fear, but they made a choice. They chose power over ease, legacy over momentary relief, vision over noise. You have that choice today, not tomorrow, not when conditions are perfect, today. The question is simple. Will you guard your mornings like a fortress? Will you choose pain as your ally, not your enemy? Will you think in decades and not days? Will you refuse the noise of the crowd? Will you master your attention? Will you build systems that serve you? Will you learn from failure? Will you protect your circle? Will you cultivate emotional mastery? Will you live for legacy? Each of these is a doorway, a small, deliberate choice that leads to a life few dare to live. I am not asking you to be perfect. I am asking you to be brave, to start, to stand, to build. Because the truth is this, your power does not come from what you have. It comes from what you are willing to become. So, guard your mornings. Embrace discomfort. Think long-term. Trust yourself even when misunderstood. Master your focus. Build systems. Learn fiercely from failure. Protect your circle. Know yourself. Live for something greater than yourself. Start this journey now, because power, real power, is not a gift. It is a habit, and habits begin with this very moment. This moment, right here, right now, is yours.